7 o'clock, the meeting will come to order. Good evening. I'm Grace Lesperance, Township Supervisor. Clerk Slater, please call the roll.
Trustee Nordhook.
Here.
Trustee McDonald.
Here.
Supervisor Lesperance.
Here,
Trustee Kessel.
Here.
Trustee Shipley.
Present.
please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Is there approval or a motion or discussion on tonight's agenda?
I move to approve the agenda with the removal of item 27, 2023. And that's due to the new documentation that's not yet received. It's going to be submitted by the applicant.
Approved.
Was that 027?
Yeah, 027,
Okay.
yes.
Second.
That's a motion by trustee McDonald to approve tonight's agenda with the exception of the removal of 027, 2023, which will be placed on the agenda at a future meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Article 4, presentations. We have our new community policing officer here tonight, Deputy Kate Chase. Thank you so much. Deputy Chase came on board at the beginning of January, and this is after the board last year made the decision to bring on one additional full-time community policing officer as part of our initiative to strengthen our public safety. So welcome on behalf of the board. If you want to make any comments or introductions, more than welcome. Tell us what we can do to improve your job.
I know I met some of you in the audience. I appreciate you all being here. Again, Kate Chase. Just a little bit about my background. Grew up in the area, went to Forest Hills Northern. I now live in Ada, so born and raised here. Very proud to represent my community and now the sheriff's office in this new role. So I look forward to serving all of you. And again, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Article 5, public comments. Feel free to comment on anything on tonight's agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And if anyone here in person is wanting to comment on something that's not on tonight's agenda, we do have two closed session items. So there will be a delay. So tonight, if feel free to comment now so you don't have to stay disproportionate amount of time by yourself. Anyone virtually, Ms. Brott? So we'll wait 1 second and then.
Scott Van Salkman, 2570 Orange. I just was curious, who runs our street lights along like Cascade Road and 28th Street? Before they used to all turn on sort of all at the same time. I don't know when you guys showed up here or whatnot, but on my way in, the side of Cascade Road with Mr. Car Wash, those lights were off where the other side was on. And half of 28th Street was on, half wasn't. So I don't know. They used to all just, come on at once. So I don't know whoever, if that's us or if that's like Consumers Energy, just to let you guys aware of it. Also, the light in front of International Beverage Center is like a strobe light.
Those the shorter, more
The nice
black ones.
The nice black ones that are township street lights. So those are the ones. That was it.
Thank
All right,
you.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
If anyone virtually would like to participate, please raise your hand. Oh, sorry.
Nope, you're fine. Go ahead.
No one's raising their hand.
Mr.
Ken
Van.
Vandercock, 7200 Layton. I was just wondering, Tim brought up a few months back about all these emergency calls to the hotels, and we're paying for them. Has there been anything going on to get reimbursed as an ordinance or something that would in?
Do we have an update on that, Manager Swayze?
So township attorney has been working on that. We actually have a call on that as well as a bunch of other items on Friday, but I'm anticipating him coming in April. to give a couple different options, right? So it's not just the hotels, we have nuisance calls at other places as well, so he's laid out a couple different options the township board can consider to reduce the nuisance calls and collecting fees, which is one of those options.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comments? Hearing none, is there a motion or discussion on the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's a motion by trustee Shipley, supported by clerk Slater to approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Having no financial actions or unfinished business tonight brings us to Article 9, new business. First item 025-2023, resolution for approval of the 2023 poverty exemption guidelines. Manager Swayze?
Yeah, so this is based on a policy the township board adopted back in 2006. Each year we review it and update it, and really the only update that takes place is the poverty level guidelines. Those are set by the state, and we adopt those new levels by resolution. Again, we do not have a lot of poverty exemption requests in Cascade Township, but it's a good policy to have in place so we know how to address them when we do get those requests.
Questions, discussion?
I move to approve the updated poverty exemption guidelines.
Support.
It's a motion by trustee McDonald, supported by trustee Shipley to approve the resolution for approval of the 2023 poverty exemption guidelines. Clerk Slater, please call the roll.
Trustee Shipley,
Yay.
trustee Kessel,
Yes.
trustee McDonald,
Yes.
trustee Nordhook,
Yes.
clerk Slater, yes, supervisor Lesbrunz.
Yes, motion carried. Item 026-2023. Request for proposals for the Thornapple River Safety and Navigation Marking Plan. Manager Swayze, excuse me, brief overview, please.
Yeah, so we all know that in 2021, the board approved the creation of the Thornapple River Special Assessment District. There's 301 properties in the district, and each property contributes $300 per year. The SAD collects a total of just over $90,000 a year, and the funds are available for the stated purpose in the SAD, which is to make certain improvements to the Thornapple River, including weed control and removal, debris removal and safety enhancements, and silt control and removal. So as part of the process establishing the SAD, the board created the Thornapple River SAD Ad Hoc Committee to provide recommendations to the township board on how the fund should be utilized. So in 2022, the committee focused on the development and implementation of the weed management plan, which is awarded for a 3-year period, 2022 through 2024. And as that's taken care of, the committee's turned its attention to procuring the services of a qualified firm to assist in developing and implementing a safety and navigational marking plan. So the committee did review the RFP at their March 6th meeting and did recommend the board approve the issuance of the RFP. We do have a pretty tight schedule for this RFP, primarily because we want to get the company on board prior to the drawdown, so we can take them out on a boat ride during drawdown. To better display where the safety markings and navigational markings may be. So I anticipate that if the board does approve the issuance of the RFP, the ad hoc committee will be reviewing the submittals the week of April 3rd to turn around a recommendation to the township board on April 12th. So in the packet, it outlines the full scope of work identified in the RFP. I'm happy to have any questions that you may have about that. As I mentioned, the committee did meet at their March 6th meeting, and really the only change that they made was to fill in some of the blanks, primarily as part of the pre-application meeting. Member Reese has volunteered to give rides to prospective bidders so they can go out and check the river before they make their bids. So the issuance of the RFP won't have any direct cost to the township, only the staff time related to the issuance. So the proposals are expected to detail costs for the development and implementation of the plan, So the township's budgeted $10,000 through the SAD for this project and the Thornapple River, really to begin the project. But if there's additional funds maybe need to be allocated once the plan is developed and the cost implementation is known. So if the implementation is relatively cheap, we may be able to do it 1 year. If it's expensive, the committee may recommend doing it over a period of years because the weed management program is still their top priority. So we just don't know what that cost is going to be yet. That I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Trustee Shipley?
I sit on that committee also, and it was pretty well thought out. One of the important things to the SAD committee wanted to do was make sure that the township was in compliance with the marking requirements that the state has for navigational rivers. It's not a matter of us going out there with a bunch of volunteers and throwing out milk jugs like what we've done in the past. And also aware that
Yeah, exactly.
I know where a couple milk jugs are at too. But also bearing in mind that as the manager Swayze said, we still need to have money in the funds for weed removal, which has been a huge success with the property owners, as I understand.
John, did the folks on the committee, did they talk much about the hazards on that side? That they had a lot of accidents, not accidents, but where people have lost props and stuff?
Oh, yeah, they've talked about several different types of hazards. Some of them are permanent, for instance, the shallows.
Mhm.
Some of them move periodically, like the logs.
Yeah.
And the stumps that are over 24 inches in diameter. And those are all why they want to take the RFP interested companies out there to show them exactly what they're talking about. Instead of a broadcast statement of, well, we want the shallows marked and we want the stumps marked. So.
As I told you, a year and a half ago, I went on a little cruise with a friend of mine who is a property owner at Sequoia. And the water was kind of low at that time, but if you're navigating that river without someone who doesn't know where those hazards are, your boat is toast.
We can all sit here and say, if you own a boat, tough luck, you can afford to lose a prop or two. But the real hazard here is injury on the river.
Sure.
Although our fire department is well prepared to do water rescue, we don't want to see any of our residents or guests hurt on the river. And that's what the real hazard is. Not necessarily the resident that's skipping along at 52 miles an hour on skis.
We care about them too.
Oh, we absolutely. But it's rather upsetting when you're thrown through the windshield of a boat.
Mhm.
So.
The SAD has done the group has done a fantastic job of heading that. I recommend we move expeditiously in improving it so they can get what they need in time. I'd make a motion to approve it as
Support.
written, or
Support.
too soon.
Sure. No,
Okay,
do it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Article 10, closed session. Tonight, we have two agenda items that are subject to closed session deliberation by the board. First item pursuant to MCL 15.268 subsection H is to consider material that's just exempt from discussion by statute. Second is pursuant to the same statute subsection A to consider a periodic personnel evaluation if the employee requests a closed hearing. Manager Swayze has requested his annual evaluation be done in closed session. Both items will be discussed separately. However, the board can go into closed session on both with one motion. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
Shipley makes a motion to go to closed session. Support.
It's a motion by trustee Shipley, supported by trustee Kessel to go into closed session. All in favor? Oh, do we need, sorry, Clerk Slater, please call the roll on this. Thank you.
Trustee Nordhook,
Yes.
trustee McDonald.
Yes.
Trustee Castle,
Yes.
trustee Shipley.
Yay.
Slater, yes. Supervisor Lesbrunz.
Yes, motion carried. We are now in closed session. After discussing those items, we will come back and follow through with the rest of the agenda, which includes the treasury appointment process. We hope you'll stick around.
You guys are walking the other day. Yeah, that was nice. I thought we left bigger clothes and we came back. Like a party. Not a quitter.
That's why you quit. Do we have to take a motion to get back into? No. Just to go out.
Well, now that Ken's not here, Mr. Chatty Cathy, we can should move on a lot quicker.
Shipley makes a motion to resume normal board proceedings. Support.
That's a motion by trustee Shipley, supported by trustee Kessel to enter back into regular session. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are now back in open session. Is there a motion or discussion?
Are we back in?
Let's, subsection H, the first issue.
Yeah, I make a motion that we have our legal counsel take action per our discussions in closed session.
Shipley supports.
So motion of discussion. It's a motion by trustee McDonald, supported by trustee Shipley to direct legal counsel to take action as discussed in closed session. Is there a motion for the second?
All those in favor?
Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Subsection A of the Open Meetings Act. Discussion or a motion? I don't, you know what? Board action isn't required. Sorry, Ben. So we're good.
Don't require.
Yep. Article 11, discussion. One item, and that is the appointment process to fill the vacant treasurer seat. Per our solicitation, we received a good number of applications, and now the board just needs to determine the next step in the process. So is there discussion? Ideas?
I think we've probably all been thinking about how do we go through this process? And our legal counsel said, you know, we can hire anybody at any time. But I make a motion that that each of us go through all of the things that the documentation we've received and select up to 3 candidates. And then submit each of those to HR in the township. And then have the HR director determine that any candidate who gets 4 or more recommendations collectively from the board will be selected either for an interview with the board or selected at a future board meeting. So the process is, we go through all of the resumes that we've received and the letters and the other documents. Each of us determines the 3 that we like. Individually, we submit those to HR. And objectively, the HR says, okay, if 4 or more candidates get recommended, then that person or those persons then could either come in for an interview, or if we don't want to go through the interview process, we could just select them at a future board meeting.
Is that a motion that you make?
So.
Yes, that's a motion.
2, 3.
Up to 3. If you only want to, if you think there's one that you're really keen on, that's great. But you just can't say, I recommend 7. So up to 3.
I'll support your motion. That makes sense because that gives us an opportunity to read the documents and do a little bit of research. And it also involves our HR director, which is an important part of handling people.
And by the way, John, just if I could amend that, and our actions to select the 3 candidates and submit those to HR should be done by March 17th,
What's today?
the 8th. The March 17th is a week from Friday.
That's plenty of time, right?
Yeah,
Especially because we don't want it to go to a special election.
Oh,
Right.
okay, for the HR person.
Yeah, and Minnesota didn't work for Katie, and again, we have, I think it's April 14th scheduled as the time before you need to make a decision, so there's at least 2 board meetings still scheduled before that final date,
What's our next board meeting, or what would be,
March 22nd and then April 12th.
Right.
and if we need to, we can call a special meeting.
Mhm.
Sure.
Depending on how
So what we'll do is we'll have Katie circulate the results and then for that, we can start the discussion about when potentially to have interviews, if that's the next step.
Matter of fact, could I make that, I think, would
It's actually a good
make it
idea.
March 15th, make it a little earlier, so we got time before the 22nd, if we want to do something before the 22nd. Just say that we all make our recommendations by March 15th.
That's a week from today. That's
Week from
plenty
today.
of time.
Is that okay, John?
Yep, I still support.
That's more efficient than doing a subcommittee, which essentially has to come right up to the, that's actually really good. Yeah.
I'd still like to do some interview questions.
Does this process allow you to do that? Yeah.
I don't know if it does. Does it allow me to do some interview questions? The candidates before we,
Once we get to the top three, yeah.
okay, good. Thank you.
Which is smart because. Okay. A motion by trustee McDonald, supported by trustee Shipley.
Yep.
Make sure I got it right. That the candidate process will be each board member selects up to 3 candidates, submits those of the applications received, submits those to the township HR director. And then any of the applicants who get 4 or more
Recommendation.
recommendations will be considered, will be then either
Selected for an interview process
selected for interview process or,
or selected by the board in a future board meeting.
yep, so yes. And then the board would need to, each member needs to submit to HR their recommendation, their recommended candidates by April 18th or
March 15th.
March 15th.
The Ides of March.
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Manager comments,
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you.
public comments, Article 12, apology. Anybody wishing to comment on anything?
Manager comments, you have an update.
I don't know if Grace wanted to tell you, if you wanted to talk about our meeting today, or if you want me to talk about it.
You go ahead. We had a meeting with legal counsel. You go ahead, Ben, because you're more in the details about it, but
So we had a meeting with legal counsel to talk about the things that we talked about the township can do. So the ticket process is moving forward. We do need some additional information from the gentleman that was here last week and provided me that contact information. So we're working through that. And then we talked a little bit last time about the gray area when it comes to the land use. So we've directed our attorney to provide us a written opinion on the non-conforming use of that property and what the township's options are. So he got his marching orders to do that in short order. So we're kind of moving on that aspect as well. And then we did get a communication back from Eagle just this afternoon about their visit yesterday to the site. So really haven't had time to digest that yet, but that process is moving.
So by next week, we'll know more.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
anyone virtually, Ms. Brott?
If anyone of our Zoom participants would like to participate in this section of public comments, please raise your hand.
Hearing none. Any additional comments, Manager Swayze?
I don't tonight. Thank you.
Board member comments?
I'm gonna stand up and thank my bosses for being here tonight. Government moves slow, as witnessed today. Some things are for open discussion. Some things, as you saw, we have to have legal counsel on, but thanks for your patience for persevering with us.
Thank you for sticking around. It's not a fun.
I just want to talk about this hotel issue. We've had some arrests this week for the kids stealing purses. They seem to be residents at the hotel. And we got to get a grip on this. I can't have kids stealing 70-year-old women's purses out of the shopping carts. It's got to come to a stop. We are not that kind of a community, so, and it's coming out of that hotel. I think those hotels are bringing in bad players, the panhandlers, sleeping under the bridges when they get kicked out of the hotel. I think it's all connected down there, and we need to be pushing on that. That's my comment.
The tools, so any tools we have, which two come to the top of my head that have been out there for a while, let's get those. That'll be good.
Yeah, yep. And just to expand on my answer to Mr. Vanderkolk's question earlier, so the information the attorney is bringing back isn't just about recovering costs. It's about what type of regulations we can put in the hotels as well. What kind of requirements we have. So again, it's a more comprehensive solution than just, how do we make them pay every time we have to go to a hotel and deal with something?
Anything that works so that my little old ladies don't get their purse taken.
Mhm.
Thank you.
That's an important point.
And Timmy, to just coattail on you a little bit. I'm also concerned about just more than a purse being stolen. You know, you're just right on the line of going over the border into violence. This little lady here, I'm gonna shove her, or I'm gonna smack her, or whatever.
Yep.
We have a lot of good businesses that a couple bad apples who their business model is charge low. Don't pay a lot, hands off, low rates, fill the rooms with whatever we get. And then, our police and fire have done a great job of containing it, but we don't want several bad actors to make it hard or unsafe for residents and also for all the good business owners who are vested in Cascade. I don't think the several bad apples they have not really stepped up to do their share.
Well, this group had handguns with them and they stole a car, so I don't need those kind of residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Shipley makes a motion for adjournment.
Support.
It's a motion by trustee Shipley, supported by trustee McDonald to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. You're adjourned. Thank you.